What's happening, everybody? Kyle Crosby with Louisiana Dread here, the Dreadful Podcast. Dreadful Podcast, episode 2, baby. Kyle Crosby coming to you from the Scott Vicknair Personal Injury Studios in the beautiful downtown New Orleans. And it's hot. It's scorching. I'm dying. But we here. We're here. And we're making the best of it. All right. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news. There's a lot of stuff going on in politics. There's a lot of stuff going on just in general. But all of it, I'm not being dramatic. Normally I'm dramatic, right, Cleo? Cleo says yes. But all of it has to do with absolute stupidity. It is. And I'm not blackpilling here. It's true. Louisiana. Number 49. Thank God for Mississippi. Thank God for Mississippi on multiple occasions. For obesity, for education, and that's what I'm getting at right now. Education. We are number 49, y'all. 49 in education. What makes people think? And this is a broad, general question here. What makes people in this state think that a number 49 in education state are going to have good leaders? Don't get me wrong. John Bel Edwards is one of the best leaders we've had in the past, years that I've been alive. I was born in 1990, all right? We've had some pretty bad ones. Okay, the boomers that tried to elect David Duke, I'm looking at you, all right? We had some pretty bad rulers. And Eddie Rispone, what? He almost won. We got some stupid people here, y'all. I'm not saying those of you who are watching are stupid. In fact, I'm saying quite opposite. You're very smart. You're very smart, especially if we're watching the show. We love you. But come on, 49 in education. There's just not enough things that can be said about what causes our state to be in this cataclysmic position that we're in. We got teachers getting paid $2. We got the police not getting funded enough. Firefighters, y'all, we are number 50 in terms of funding for firefighters. They do so much to help us out. They don't only fight fires. People just think firefighters are, just sitting around waiting for fires to happen. No, they do all kinds of shit. And here I go. I'm already cursing in a show that I promised I would not swear as much. That's only for the Patreon. Speaking of Louisiana Dread, Patreon is patreon.com/Louisiana Dread. You get the R-rated version. You get the no bleeps. You get the emotion. You get the drama, the intensity, the information, all that kind of good stuff with the Patreon. Shameless plug. What's going on? Threads. Are you on Threads? Are you on Threads? Is he, she, they, them on Threads? We're on Threads. Dread Threads. It's Twitter, but not Twitter. It's Twitter, but it's Zuckerberg's, version of Twitter. I personally don't mess with Twitter at all. I know a lot of my friends do. They're obsessed with Twitter to a fault, essentially, but I don't like to get involved with the billionaires measuring their you-know-whats. That's exactly what this is. It's, I see this guy with $1 billion over here doing something good that maybe I can do. Let me try to do the same thing and make some more money. It's ridiculous. Do we need more apps? That's a good question. Do we need more pointless apps? We always need more apps, obviously. In fact, I'm working with someone right now to make an app, but it's beneficial. It's about Louisiana culture. It's about Louisiana history, Louisiana folklore. That's what Louisiana Dread is. And that's the kind of apps we need. We don't need, hey, let's see what Elon Musk's Instagram would look like. Or let's see what Richard Branson's version of FetLife would be. No, we don't need all that. We need things that will actually benefit humanity, benefit us as people, And that's why I want to do stuff with Louisiana, because we have so much potential, y'all. As a state, we have the most potential. The most potential. Why, why don't we have a fully functioning train system? We could have a train system that gets you from Shreveport to Venice in like 3 hours, maybe less. The Japanese can do it. They make bullet trains that go 300 miles an hour, and they serve you the best sushi in the world. But here, you need a car to get across the street, to get across Veterans. That's something. If you in the New Orleans area, you know what I'm talking about. If you are at the, let's just say, any intersection, you at Lakeside Shopping Center, and you have your car is getting serviced at across Veterans at it's Fritz and Hans body shop. You go park your car and you're like, hey, you know how long you're gonna work on my car? Oh, me, dude, we're gonna work on your car for about an hour and a half. Is that okay? Yeah, that's fine. I'll just go walk across the street and I'll shop at Lakeside. Lakeside Shopping Center. Well, guess what? You got to play Frogger to get across Veterans. 12 lanes of traffic you have to cross, hop around, and hope to God you don't get smacked. And if you do, call Scott Vicknair personal injury attorneys, baby. They're going to get you covered. Now, once you actually make it across, you got to go through the parking garage and all that kind of stuff. You could walk around Lakeside. You could go get your Auntie Anne's pretzel, and then your car's ready. They call you Fritz and Hans like, hey, man, your car's ready. It's going to cost you $35,000. And you're like, okay, well, I don't really have that on me, but let's go. I'll take a loan out or something. You got to go across that monstrosity again. But instead, you can cross. I'm making these bobbleheads go nuts. There's David right here, and there's Mr. Brad Scott right here. Check them out. But the thing is, y'all, all you'd have to do is get in a train station, and you could go anywhere in the state you want. I mapped it out. Shreveport to Venice, maybe not to Venice, not really a happening place, but you could go to New Orleans in record timing, essentially. Faster than it would be with a car. But if you look at a map of Louisiana, all the major cities can be accessed by trains. We have half the tracks. I don't even say half. We got 90% of the tracks laid out. They had it figured out back in the day. But then, these people come in with lobbying the government, the car owners, the car dealerships, and like, no, we want people relying on cars. We don't want them taking the trains because then we won't be able to sell all these cars. We don't even want people taking the streetcar in the city. So now we have 4 streetcar lines. Y'all, we had 137 streetcar lines in the city of New Orleans, not even 100 years ago. Well, at this point, yeah, it would be over 100 years ago. But still, you had so many streetcar lines you could take. You'd be able to get on a train, and it would be a bullet train. It'd be fast as hell. And you get from Lake Charles to New Orleans. And all of them would intersect pretty much by Alexandria. And that would boost Alexandria's tourism up. Because guess what, baby? They ain't doing too good up there in terms of tourism. Not as much as it would be if you'd have an actual fully functioning train system. I don't get it. There should be politicians left and right screaming about this train system that can happen. And all you'd have to do is legalize something like marijuana, and you can use the funds exclusively from that to fund this high-speed train system. Look, we're just developing the ideas left and right here. Come on, employ me. I can help you out. That's a freebie, a free idea that you could use. Mr. Politician, Mrs. Politician, go with it. You don't even have to hire me on your campaign trail. You'd win because we have some good ideas. I don't know, y'all. Sometimes I'll have a Sazerac here, a Sazerac there, a Sazerac everywhere. And then I like to go home and I like to write. I write different things. I'll write ideas that would better this state. Then I wake up sober. I scratch out the ones that make no sense. Like a complete ban on ever saying the word baby cakes because that was an awful mascot. That was a joke. But really, there's a ton of ideas and a ton of things that can be done in this state to make the quality of life better. I get it. I get why these politicians don't want it. They want to pad their pockets and they want to keep pandering to the number 49 state in terms of education. That should not happen. We need to enhance the common Louisianians' knowledge, not only of their history and their culture, but also of the world around them. I love everyone in the state of Louisiana, but we're our own biggest enemy because we try to elect people like Phony Rasponi. Are you kidding me? I was disgusted. It's disgusting to see people vote for that man because he did not want anything to do with bettering the state of Louisiana. In fact, his whole political campaign was that he loved Donald Trump, which you could say what you want about him. I don't care. You love Donald Trump, you hate Donald Trump, I don't care. But don't make that your entire platform, which it was. And he tried to get those people. It failed, thankfully. We got 4 more years of JBE. And even John Bel Edwards did some bad things, but he did some great things. You know, there's got to be a way to get that into people's heads. We need to progress. Change is scary. I get it. I've gone through a lot in these past couple years. We all have. But you can't be against change because change is going to happen regardless. Let's see what's been happening. Louisiana's own Britney Spears. I know that's a lot of you ladies out there. Y'all love Britney. Y'all love y'all some Britney Spears. But she just got thrown on the ground by this dude Victor Wembanyama's security because apparently she loves this new rookie in the NBA and he's been taking the basketball world by storm. For those of you who don't know, Victor Wembanyama, he's 19 years old. He's 7'6", and he's a rookie. He's playing for the San Antonio Spurs. And people are like, going crazy about this guy because apparently he's good, and other people are saying he's too small, this kind of stuff. But he's generating a lot of buzz. Apparently, Britney Spears is a fan of his, and they went eat, not them together, but they were eating at the same restaurant one night, and he was walking out, and he just feels somebody just grab him from the back and just grabs him, and his security freaks out and just tosses her away. And it was Britney Spears. And he's like, oh, God, I don't know what happened. And they kept going. And he woke up the next morning to a bunch of phone calls and texts saying, I heard your security thrash Britney Spears, blah, 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 you POS, all this kind of stuff. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. Hey, Britney Spears, what is she doing? Just going up to and grabbing somebody? Does she need to go back in the cage? I think she does. Everybody was like, oh, free Britney, great. Yeah, free Britney. And now look at her. She's gone nuts. You can't, sometimes you just can't help people. Some people say she needs to go back in the cage. Me. Some people say, oh no, let her go grab whoever she wants. She's Britney. She's an icon. Wrong. Can't just be doing that. And speaking of fights, people like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, they all want to step into the cage, baby. They want to fight at WrestleMania in a steel cage match. All this kind of grow up. Seriously, grow up. 2 billionaires wanting to fight. They got so many things going on in this world right now that we do not need to be worrying about what 2 billionaires are doing or who Britney Spears is grabbing this week. Y'all, there's a war going on that we're funneling billions of dollars into. It is absurd. But we stepped over 5 homeless people on the way over here. I said last podcast, why don't we help these people? You know how much 1.6 billion would do to help people. In fact, I did the research. Your boy did the research. So this is all before I get Boudreaux and Thibodeau in the comment section saying, "Oh, that's not a reliable source." It is. USA Facts, the Department of Housing and Urban Development. These are reliable sources. Look it up. All right. So right now, 582,000 people are homeless in the United States, most of which are children. Keep in mind. There are 770 billionaires in the United States. It's estimated that it would cost $20 billion to completely eradicate the homeless crisis in the country. Now, look, that's not to sustain it, to sustain the elimination of homelessness. That's just to make it happen. That's to build the facilities. That's to get the people in there. And it would cost money, yes, to sustain it. But to end it right now, for 1 month, $20 billion, it would cost less to maintain it. The energy, the food, all this kind of stuff, the health care, which needs to happen because the majority of these people have mental illness. We're going to talk about mental illness in a different episode and more in depth on the Patreon. You can bet your behind on that. So of that, you have $20 billion to end homelessness, 770 billionaires. Each of those people would have to pay $26 million each, and it would completely wipe out the homeless population in terms of getting them into a facility and getting them housed. $26 million is pocket change to these people. It's literally pulling out $2 to the average human being. It's insane because, and I'm sure y'all have all seen it, the comparisons to what a million is compared to a billion. What is a million seconds is 12 days, but a billion seconds is 32 years. That is insane. So the whole premise of it is that if they were taxed appropriately, or if they would give this amount, if there would be some kind of conscious effort to help your fellow man, to help society progress, what you're going to do with your billions? How high do you think these walls are? I don't want to live in a country where just the people just keep popping up homeless left and right. You got to stop it. And how do you do that? You take the people who are, and honestly, a lot of these people are evangelical Christians who are like, oh, we love Jesus and we love, all the work he does. He's such a role model. He would give people money. Jesus wasn't a hoarder. He helped the homeless, not somebody like Joel Osteen who just locks his doors whenever a hurricane comes through to the people of Houston. No. People like Joel Osteen are the problem here. And I'm probably going to lose a lot of followers here, but I don't care because it needs to be said. There's no reason that there should be homeless veterans, especially in this country. We are a militaristic country, and the people who defend us are sleeping on the sidewalk, are screaming about aliens in the street. That should not happen. These billionaires should be able to help. If they're going to benefit from the labor that they'll use, there has to be some kind of system for people to give back and to help other people. Help your fellow man. That's what religion is always meant to be about. That's what just being a good person is always meant to be about. Even if you don't even believe in religion, it's just the way you should be. You should want to help your fellow man. We give as much as we can. I've always done that. That's how we were taught as Cajun people. You help your fellow person, especially in times of hurricanes. We're always the first ones to help each other because we know that the government's not going to help. The government has never helped us. Never. Down here in South Louisiana, we only have each other's back. No matter what color your skin is, no matter what God you worship, as soon as that storm leaves, everybody's out in the street giving people bags of water, giving people bags of spaghetti sauce so you can feed your kids, helping each other. But these 770 billionaires could eradicate homelessness immediately, tomorrow if they wanted to. But instead, they're buying Twitter. Instead, they're creating a new Twitter or taking a submarine down to the Titanic. What's going on? What happened to being a human being? I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe it's a pipe dream. Oh, I did see in the news that this guy was arrested because he climbed a skyscraper in, South Korea? What are we doing? What are we doing? Why is this happening? This dude, what was his name? His name doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what his name is. He was arrested. He was climbing up 123 stories. Y'all, do you know how tall that is? That's insane to do that. And he said he was doing it for awareness, social awareness for climate change. He's climbing a skyscraper to base jump off of it so people know about climate change. Dude, start a podcast or something. Do you really have to climb 123 stories so people know about climate change? That's everybody's talking about it. Either they hate it or they don't think it's real, or they worried that it's going to happen tomorrow. And guess what? Walk outside. You feel it. If you don't believe it, then it shouldn't bother you. 123 stories. It was called the Lot World Tower. It is 1,820 feet tall, 555 meters for the people across the ponds. It's the 5th tallest skyscraper in the world, and he did it barehanded to bring awareness to climate change. He did the same thing in London not that long ago for the same reason, and he was arrested. First off, why don't we have more skyscrapers in New Orleans? Build up. Stop building out. Urban sprawl is horrendous. It goes back to what I said about crossing the street of veterans. We need a train system. Just if you want to live far away in the woods, you can live far away in the woods. But if you're in the city, you have to live with what you got. You can't just keep sprawling out. Then what's the point? Like Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is massively sprawled out for no reason. No reason. So you can live in little cul-de-sacs and little streets that go like this and that, and to grow up. Live in an apartment complex or live next to you. There's no reason we should have all this sprawl. It's ridiculous. But just like the guy who's climbing the skyscrapers to talk about climate change, it's stupid. The stupidity in this country is outrageous. That's why we're in the positions we're in. We have stupid leaders. We have stupid followers. I don't get it. Not my followers, though. Y'all the smartest people in the world. I love you so much. Especially Patreon. Patreon.com/Louisiana Drag. Go check us out. So I just don't get it. It's unreal. And he did it, like I said, barehanded. My hands are sweating right now just talking about it. And not to mention, if you do it right now, you'd be sweating anyway because it's so hot outside. But it brings to mind, too, like, what really scares us? Because I'd be climbing the skyscraper and I would get maybe 1 foot up 1 foot up, and I'd slide down because my hands would sweat. I'm too scared. I'm afraid of heights. I take all my friends listening to this, y'all know, I take 2 steps on a ladder. I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm down. I hate to fly because I just think that just my seat is just going to get sucked out and I'm gone. I know I'm insane too. But still, it brings to question, why are we like this? And I think about this a lot too. Why are we like this? When I'm driving to work and I see people, no blinker, just going 5 lanes across the interstate. Then, oh, good luck, everyone. And you just drive. Why are we like this? A lot of people are afraid to drive because of that. But it just got me thinking, like, what makes us afraid? And I thought a lot about it, too, because while I was writing the Louisiana Dread series and writing these horror stories, what is something that generally terrifies us? And I read an article a while back that says that just subconsciously, when human beings see a pair of teeth, like sharp teeth, we get intimidated by that. We have just an internal sense of dread because back in our primitive days, we had to look out for things like saber-toothed tigers. You know, these creatures that wanted to harm us before we were at the top of the food chain. By the way, we're not at the top of the food chain technically. If we're out in the wild, we getting eat, okay? We getting ate up by whatever's out there. Lions, tigers, bears, Bobby Jendo, everything is out to get you when you're out in the wild. So we had to develop tools to take us out of the food chain. And thank God, because when you see a shark, first thing you see are the teeth. A lion, the teeth. And things like dragons. Dragons obviously aren't real. I get it. Yes, Kyle. But every culture on this planet, without communicating with each other, from China to England to Brazil, every culture had dragons, or some sense of the word, flying snake monster, these teeth. Imagine dragons. But really, you see these drawings in caves, or you see these stories from antiquity, you hear these different things, and it's all oddly similar. A lot of it, they're oddly similar. Very similar. But again, the main thing I was trying to do when I was writing these horror stories is obviously to find out what scares you. And feel free to comment. What is your biggest fear? I'll tell you mine. I hate heights. I immediately clam up when I'm up top of sky. I love it. I love the views. I'll go to New Orleans down the way. They're not advertising with us, but go check it out. And you get, I get this sense of fear, this sense of dread when I'm in this elevator. In fact, I go to Hot Springs, Arkansas a couple weeks back, and there was an observatory. Fine, whatever. Go in the observatory, and you're in this elevator, and it's just creaking up. And you just hear everything just squeaking, and there's a window behind you, and you just see yourself going up, and I'm like, oh, wow, it's a beautiful view. And you feel the elevator just go, and then my head just went, shoo. I'm probably going to die on this elevator. You see you get higher up, and it makes you feel dumb, but it's scary. It scared me, but there's things deep within our psyche, in the back of our head, that you don't realize is terrifying until you actually go through it, till you actually see it. But we'll have more fun on that on the Patreon, and we'll have a lot more fun on that in the Louisiana Dread series. But again, we're coming back to you again, y'all. We got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff happening. We have a couple of documentaries we're putting out here. The podcast is obviously new. Thank you to Scott Vicknair, Personal Injury Lawyers, for letting us use this beautiful new studio. I don't know if you could see the bobbleheads here of David and Brad. Great people. They're going to hook you up if you ever get injured. Maritime, all my people that go offshore on the oil rigs, you get hurt, bring, bring. Call up Scott Vicknair. They got you. But again, we're going to try to come out here and record podcasts as often as we can. Got a lot of cool guests coming up. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to that Patreon. We're going to be going all over the place, y'all. All over the place. We just went to, well, actually, I'll just save that for the Patreon. And on the Patreon, we put out a new drink video, show you how to make some cool cocktails, Louisiana style. We show you the Estates series that goes in depth on how beautiful and historical these massive buildings are in Louisiana culture, from skyscrapers like One Shell Square, or right now it's Hancock Whitney, to the Superdome, to Oak Alley Plantation, Laura Plantation, to the Curel House down the bayou. We got all kind of stuff coming out, yo. All kind of stuff coming out. Stay tuned. Tell your ma, tell your pa in Arkansas to follow us at Louisiana Dread. Goodbye.